Three-time Super Bowl champion Leonard Marshall. I'm Elliott Kalb, Mr. Stats. This is the Lenny and Elliott Podcast, When Giants Were Giants, a deep dive into the 86 Super Bowl 21 champion New York Football Giants. And today, we're joined by a very special guest. Number 52, Pepper Johnson, part of the Big Blue Wrecking Crew, a great linebacker. 1986 was the first of his 13 years in the NFL. Also with the Browns, Lions, and Jets. 5 Super Bowl rings, 2 as a player with the Giants and 3 as a coach for the Patriots. And just like Leonard was a second-round pick of the Giants in 83, Pepper was a second-round pick in 86, and he really got to enjoy that. He came into the NFL with one of the great teams of all time. Pepper, it's great to have you with us.
Hey, I'm glad to be here.
Hey, thanks for coming on, Pep. Thanks for coming on, man. This is a classic, Elliott. I can't believe we were able to get this guy on. I got to tell you, his rookie year was phenomenal because of all the guys that we brought in. But he was one of the guys that was extremely spirited. As a matter of fact, he really raised so much hell that he donned the nickname Raising Hell. I wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
How'd you get the nickname Pepper, though, first of all? How'd you get the Pepper?
Pepper came, and everybody always messed with me about it. I put it on my cereal, on my cornflakes, but I was just 2 years old. I was 2 years old, and my aunt fixed me a bowl of cereal, cornflakes, Kellogg's cornflakes, and my mother and them already warned her that I like to put extra sugar, when they're not looking. So she fixed me a bowl of cereal. She turns away. I guess I go into my routine, but I'm looking at her, looking over her shoulder. So instead of me grabbing the sugar shaker, I grabbed the pepper shaker. And so she called herself, watching me and making sure I eat the cereal. And I ate the whole bowl and wanted another one. And my mother is so bad. Like if my mother was here right now, you can ask her, and she would, like, what did she call me before Pepper? And she don't know.
That's funny, man.
She doesn't know.
And you really raised hell in the locker room, according to Leonard, huh?
Raising hell, yeah. Harry still calls me Raising Hell today. You see, Leonard, everybody, they still call me Raising Hell. And so I put that on my license plates. I would Run DMC was like a strong group for me, even before I met them. And I happened to meet those guys in '86 also. But that was, I already had the license plates, the gimmick license plates in the front of my car was saying Raising Hell. And Harry, all those guys caught a hold of that. And if they wasn't calling me rookie, it was Raising Hell.
Raising Hell. That's right.
Getting back to that time, did you guys had roommates then?
Yes, Greg.
Yeah.
Who was your roommates?
Greg Lasker was my roommate.
Leonard?
Mine was Elvis Patterson.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah,
I got stuck with Elvis. I had to babysit him.
Or Elvis got stuck with you, depending on which way you look at it, right?
Yeah, kind of.
But Pepper, seriously, when you're drafted onto a team and you play linebacker and you're drafted onto a team with Banks and Reasons on the left side and Harry and LT on the right side, how did they react to you? How did you react to them?
Well, I mean, it was a blessing for me. It was a dream come true because I watched the Giants from afar, so I already was at awe and admire the defense because I watched even in college. I watched more pro football than I did college football, and the New York Giants was the team that I wanted to get drafted by because I was such a Harry Carson fan. And then Carl Banks and we already had a little history when he was at Michigan State. Michigan State recruited me. So already had history with him. And then now I get to, watch on TV. I get to watch Leonard. Like I said, LT, of course, and watching Bert. I was at art, and don't forget the old man over there, Mr. Martin. So I was I wanted to get drafted by the Giants, and my dream came true.
Wow.
Oh, so
And
the welcoming, it was awesome because like they kind of set me up a little bit. Those guys was kind of letting me, think I was already in, but it was like a catch. I felt like it was a catch around the corner all the time. And Harry set me up the first time because I was avoiding the dining room because you had to stand up on a table and sing.
Sing your fight song.
Yeah, anything but a fight. Exactly. So I finally came close to it, and so Harry ended up making me come into the cafeteria, and the only thing I knew was rap records. So I did Houdini, which I'm a da da da. I'm a da. But a really good record, and the staff was some ladies that was up in there, and it's not really good, but I got me a applaud, and the guys clapped for me and everything, and so I felt good.
He was good, Elliott. I mean, as a number 2 draft pick, it's pretty reciprocal that every number 2 that came before him kind of get beside him and try to help guide him through some stuff. And Pepper navigated his way through it real easily. I mean, we weren't real rowdy and crazy as we were in 80, 84, 85. We weren't as rowdy. We were in, if I'm not mistaken, Pepper, we were in Madison, New Jersey. No,
we was at Pace.
Oh, we're Pace. We're Pace. Okay, so
yeah,
when we left Pace, then it became like a country club.
Yeah,
Pace was a little bit nuts in Pace.
Now, Pepper, Leonard came in with Coach Parcells, and he told us in previous episodes how when he came, Parcells would needle him, get on him about having to weigh him maybe on like the trucks on the New Jersey Turnpike. Did he have this a needling relationship with you? How did he motivate you? And you have an interesting relationship with Bill because you went into your career and you ended your career playing for Parcells when he was the head coach of the Jets. How did Parcells change over the years towards you?
Well, he just became more of a character. That's all. Is the same guy, but you know what? Let me cut to the chase and the stupidity of Pepper Johnson. In 1988, Coach Parcells came up to me, caught me in the hallway like he always do. Leonard, I'm quite sure he had these episodes also, and he told me he wanted to become close. He wanted to become close with me and be, not just more than a coach. And so I looked at him. I was like one of my friends, like that, right? And he was like, yeah. So I'm thinking of how him and Harry and him and LT, how they're kind of buddy, and the first thing comes out of my face is like, Coach, no, I don't think that's a good idea, because the first time you say something to me, I'm gonna feel like I can say it back, and I don't know if you're gonna like that much. And that was the first thing, because the first thing that came to my mind was like my friends, like playing basketball in the schoolyard, and my friend missed a jump shot, and I'm like, dude, stop shooting. And then he'll tell me, you just get down there and get the rebound. But that's us. You know what I mean? Like that we could do that. This is going to lead into this story. But when my first year, we're playing against San Diego, and I'm on the kickoff team. The kick return. I'm on the kickoff and the kick return, and it was big. We wanted to get a good return and blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that. So the guy ended up tackling us. Somebody ended up tackling us, and we didn't get a good return. So when I'm coming off the field, Parcells has this way of kind of standing in your line of walking off the field when he want to say something to you. So he was like, he got in my way. He was like, next time, get your block. And I was like, what? He was, and I didn't know if he was talking to me or not. I looked around, like he can't be talking to me because I blocked somebody and I blocked the mess out of somebody. And you heard me, get your effing block. And I'm like, whoa. In the first, and again, this is young dumb pepper. This is not the stupid. This is young dumb pepper. And I come out of my face, I got my effing block. And turned and walked away, right? And then I started thinking,
that's the head coach.
Yeah, that's the head coach. And maybe I blocked the wrong guy because I knew Parcells knew. You know what I mean? Because Parcells always, he see every freaking thing. And I'm like, oh man, I must have blocked the wrong dude. And so Banks come up to me, pat me on the back, like, dude, you all right? Just calm down. I was like, dude, I don't know if I blocked the right guy. And I went to try to ask Rack, and Rack turned from me. So blah, 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 blah. Luckily, we won the game. And when I got, we came in the next day, that Monday, and Parcells always sat my stool. Right, Leonard? He always sat
your stool.
And my stool was right at the doorway that led to the meetings, right?
Yeah.
I come around the corner, bam, there he go. He looks at me, he stand up immediately, and he's like, come here. And I'm like, oh man, how am I gonna explain this to my mother? I got cut like week 3, week 4, I can't remember. We played San Diego early in the season. And I'm like, oh, he's sending me home. He pulls me up in the defensive back room and he closes the door. And he said, first and foremost, don't you ever talk to me like that. I'm like, yes, sir. I'm at attention. I'm up straight. Anything not to get cut and sent home. And he's like, blah, 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 blah. And he said, you said you did block your guy. You got the right guy. But you don't ever talk to me like that. You don't, and I'm still like, yes. And I'm thinking in the back of my mind, like, wait a minute, you cursed me out on the sideline. Why won't you apologize to me in front of everybody?
Years later, he wants to be a friend of yours. But Pepper, how did he change? Now, 12 years later, you're an elder statesman and a very good veteran presence on his team that's going to the AFC Championship game with the Jets against the Denver Broncos. The Parcells during that last year, he doesn't chew you out or talk to you like that anymore, right?
No, he still chewed me out. That dude still got on me. I couldn't even believe it. One time I ended up clowning him later, year 13. It was year 13. I end up, snapping at him again, but this was, it was all in jokes and stuff. But no, Parcells, it was a different type of ribbing. It was that when he was getting on me being a rookie, and he would, always talk to me, do this, and he noticed that I have these problems and stuff like that. Now, fast forwarding to 12 years later, it was the same getting on me, but at the same token, he would talk to me, call me in his office a few times, and just talk to me advice and the attitude of the team, and how those guys are working. How do I see it? What anything any different, or what's the morale of the locker room? Pretty much. So I got that respect out of him, but when it still in public and in front of the team, he tried to clown me on a play in practice where they threw the ball short to the receiver and like to the running back, a tight end or something like that. And I was already there. So he was like, you can't get your old legs to drop back anymore. You can't get and it's like I've heard it too many times. And so I snapped again. And I was like, wait a minute. Isn't this, this we used to call 7-on-7, we used to call it pattern read.
Right.
And I was like, isn't this pattern read? Like, why in the world would I drop back there when I know they're going to throw the ball up here? Isn't that what we go to all these meetings for? And I turned to Belichick and I was like, right, Bill? And Belichick, he didn't want no parts of it. So he kind of tucked his head and looked away, right? And I'm like, I'm not getting ready to go back there. So I seen Parcells, sneak into the huddle, and Ray Lucas was our show team quarterback, and he talks to Ray, and I know he's up to something, right? So lo and behold, maybe it was a couple of plays later, I don't even know, but Ray was supposed to be throwing the ball deep down the field or something like that, but Parcells told the guy to run an in behind me and, trying to set me up for another check down. So they tried to throw the in cut, and I just slapped the ball down. I didn't catch it. I could have caught it. I could have intercepted it, but I slapped the ball down, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Are you effing kidding me?" So I know it's Parcells, and I'm like, when have you ever seen anybody catch the ball coming across the middle when I'm out here on the field? No one will ever catch the ball across the middle. You should know this by now. And he felt a little bad about it because all my teammates and stuff is high-fiving me and everything. And so he was like, when the last time you couldn't catch the ball, why didn't you catch the ball? When the last time you had an interception? and I thought about it. It was against you. I got my last interception was against the Patriots when I was in Cleveland, was against the Patriots in the playoffs. Now Belichick believe it or not, Belichick actually laughed. He actually laughed, but he turned away again. But he actually laughed because he knew I had it, because that was a big victory for us. But no, Parcells, he stayed on me all the way from year 1 to year 13.
I got a great story like that. I'm playing for the Jets in '93, and we're gonna play them. We're playing them in New England, and it's the Mud Bowl. It rained from Saturday night. It was a no-Easter weekend. So It rained from Saturday night till almost 7, 8, 9 p.m. Sunday night. And we're playing them Sunday afternoon in New England. And we beat them 6-0 in the mud. Mo Lewis had 21 tackles in the game. I had 9 tackles in the game and a sack. And Mo Lewis didn't get blocked one time. And after the game was over, Parcells came over to me and he said, you know what? This is the first time I regret leaving New York and leaving your ass behind. He said, you guys pull my ass up today. He said, I'm going to find a way to get even with your ass. And I go,
yeah.
And I walked up the field on him.
Yeah.
I got the last laugh on him. So he would never let you live it down.
No.
Right,
no. Yeah.
Live it down.
Hey, Pepper, we spoke to Mark Collins, another one of your teammates, and also a rookie in '86. And one of the things that struck me when we talked to him is he says he may not have appreciated that '86 Super Bowl championship as much as, in retrospect, he should have. He didn't fly back with the team from Pasadena, and with all of your great accomplishments afterwards, and I know you were a much better player in '90, and I know you have. But when you think back to '86, 22 years old, did you appreciate it as much as maybe you should have?
Oh yes, I didn't. I don't know what Mark. Maybe Mark was just because he was already out there in California. He's from California. Maybe
no, it wasn't anything. It was because he was already out in California. He didn't want to fly back and forth again cross country.
Yeah,
but
no, I mean, I loved every minute of it. I still tell people today that '86 was like the greatest year of my life because it was my last year at Ohio State. I played in my last game. The last game, I was defensive player of the game. I already told you I got drafted by the New York Giants, which was the number one team that I wanted to get drafted by. My son was born. I signed a contract on my freaking birthday that they want to pay me to play football, which was unbelievable in my life, my eyes rather.
Yeah.
And then I get on that ride. With Leonard, with teammates like Leonard, that I just take that ride, and next thing you know, we end up Super Bowl champions, which the game was played, I think, on my mother's birthday. If it wasn't on her birthday, it was right before her birthday. My mother's birthday, January 29th. And and so we it was such a ride. It was such a great experience. Like how we started this conversation. I was just another tool, another draft pick. Coach Belichick told me that if I continue to do well on special teams, I continue to practice hard, that I will play more. I actually, in that bowl game, I actually played more plays than Gary Reese. In the Super Bowl, I actually played more plays than Gary because of that. That's how my year was going. And Leonard's standing up here right now.
Yeah.
I'm not lying. I worked so hard. The guys, Brad Benson, those guys used to punch me in the back of my head and everything, and get mad at me because I was like, "You don't sign my check. You don't sign my check." That was my answer to all that, and they wanted me to slow down. And I was, and again, like I'm not just gonna praise Leonard because this is his show or co-hosting the show, but Leonard was kind of like my inspiration because he would tell me. Leonard would always pull me over to the side and tell me the truth and tell me the dirt, not the things that was the word, the messages that was passed along. Leonard would always tell me the truth, and Leonard lived. We stayed in the same condo association, so there was a couple of ride homes and getting out of the car at the same time, and a couple of conversations that way. And I, just him being a veteran, it was just 3 years over me, but being a veteran and having time to talk to me, I had to respect that. And later on, we have this conversation we've had it a few times where I was holding out in '89, and the only teammate that gave me a call was this guy right here, Leonard Marshall. He gave me.
You could have buddied up to the coach Parcells and said, put in a word for me, but I'm sure he would have because he wanted to be close to you by then. But
we know how that works out. Pepper knows how that works out.
I know. Hey, you bring up a point about Leonard being your inspiration, Pep. You coached linebackers with the Patriots, but you also had years where you coached the defensive line for Bill Belichick. And I wanted, like Vince Wilfork, he played in the middle, but he also played on the end for you some years, right?
Exactly.
How does he compare to Leonard? Could Leonard have played in the middle is what I'm asking. Could he have played the nose tackle?
Yeah, Leonard played wherever he wanted to play. Leonard invented our defense. People don't really know this, but I tell my guys, all my guys, they hear the story. In a 3-4 defense, you're supposed to be a 4 technique. You're supposed to line up head up over the guy. Leonard always lined it up in a tight 5 and got on the edge because if they ran towards him, he can knock the guy back and be in both and can take care of both gaps. If they ran the ball away from him, he's going to be on the edge of him, squeezing him regardless. And if the guy got too happy, he toss him to the side and make the play. But Coach Belichick would be so animated, so mad about Leonard on the edge, and he couldn't get him to line up head up. But really, with all actuality, it was better for him. It would be better for him to get into his pass rush, and it really didn't harm us in the run game because it's not like he was supposed to mirror the steps and get and cut the guy off and get up in the inside and take care of the big guy. No. Your job is to squeeze away and knock back when it's coming to you. So He is, with no credit, but he's the guy that started tight fives in the system. So I would, when I moved to coaching the defensive line, I would tell my guys that in the difficulties of being a five, but the pluses for being a five. And all my guys, they loved it. They flowed with it. So it was, again, it was that guy that's sitting on the other side of this radio that really helped me out. And I talked to a lot of defensive linemen, guys that I respected in the game, that I either played with, like Leonard, or guys that I played against. And I had conversations with them about different things, how they play this technique, how they play these guys and this guy, and of course pass rushing. And I couldn't have learned from two better dudes than Leonard and LT, and so that's what really helped me out in my coaching experience.
And I'm going to tell you something, Elliott, and I ain't going to say it just because he's on here. Okay, Pepper was just as efficient as a pass rushing linebacker as he was as an inside linebacker. We would use him in blitz situations. We would use him in third and long situations, and we would sometimes line him up as a five technique on the edge, and let him do some things as an edge rusher off either side. He created the ability for us to flop Lawrence at times, or put me in a reduced technique, which is a three technique over a guard, which is where Pepper and I would really raise a lot of hell.
Yeah.
You had to slide the line of scrimmage to deal with my big ass, and you had to worry about him looping underneath or looping over the top. And that put a lot of pressure on a lot of offenses.
Rodney Harrison used to tell me all the time, if you were smart in Belichick's system, you could play all over the place, and as he would. I want to ask you, because you guys practiced against some great running backs. Pepper, for Joe Morris in the beginning, you'd see every day in practice, and then Otis Anderson. And then as a teammate with the Lions, Barry Sanders, you used to practice against him, Sanders and Curtis Martin. Where does Joe Morris fit in among the great running back teammates of yours?
Joe right on the top of the list. Joe is right on the top of the list.
That's quite a list.
Wow. Yeah, it is. I've experienced some guys, but yeah, that Barry Sanders, the guy that you mentioned, that Detroit Lion, that guy, what makes him an exception to all of this, he didn't have like the Parcells on his back. Barry with a Parcells, if you think he was monumental now, he would have definitely been monumental, because we would have used him differently. Like they thought, because of how Barry running style, that he couldn't run behind a fullback. But it's like no one saw him at Oklahoma State. No one, went back to Oklahoma State and saw him, with a lead blocker. They would actually take him out of the game, which in the red area, which was what benefited, really helped us defensively, because took him off the field.
Oh yeah.
And I actually practicing with him. Okay, so we were a team that, unlike, again, like Parcells, where we ran after practice, Parcells didn't like it and all that stuff like that, right? So you really had to do your own conditioning, and you had to, keep up with yourself as far as being ready to play in that aspect. Barry would run 20 to 40 yards every time he touched the ball, right? And that's how he was getting in his sprints. So I stayed on the show team, so I would run with him every time he would run. That was my way of calling myself staying in shape, right? One time I'm watching Barry in practice, and I'm on defense. I really supposed to be, tagging him off. And I watched this guy do a spin move, and his teammate, an offensive lineman, was falling down in the space where he was doing the spin. So he was spinning to his left, to his right, and to my left, And when he spent around, and I'm like, oh man, you know, because there's no way in the world he could have seen this guy falling in front of him with him spinning. He did the splits, popped up. You know, when his feet hit the ground, it's like I'm talking about popped up, like he just bounced, and it's like he never missed a stride, and he took off running behind. I mean, he took off running, and so now I'm running in behind him. I'm like, dude, I am so happy to be on your team for a change, but I don't have to play against you, man. And I know he did not. And I talked to him in the locker room afterwards, and I know he did not know what he just did. It just happened. Why? And that guy is incredible. That guy is incredible.
Hard to get ready to play him, Elliott. It was hard to get ready to play him. The only guy we had on our team, and Pepper remember this, we drafted him in '89. That was even close to that kind of guy was Dave Meggett.
Yep.
That was the only guy.
Yep.
What I remember about Barry Sanders was that you could get him, he'd be -1, -2, +1, and then all of a sudden he'd have the break, you know, he'd break through and get a 30, 40, 50-yard game.
Exactly.
He broke ankles trying to tackle him.
Yeah. We had a rule playing against Barry that if anybody took a shot, Belichick said he was taking them out of the game. So we couldn't take a shot. Our job was to corral him. He actually wanted to get chickens and have us chase chickens. That was going to, you know, that was going to simulate Barry. It was like,
what do you watch the Rocky movie too many times?
Who knows what that guy was on? But I know we weren't going to chase the chickens.
That is true.
Pepper, Belichick is a guy that when he was young and in his first years as a defensive coordinator, you played for him, and then you played for him as in his first head coaching stint in Cleveland, and then later coached for him. How did he change over the years towards you? And did he ever come to you, or did you go to him and say, I want to get into coaching? How did it work?
Yeah, it was kind of a combination. I wanted all while I was playing, and like I mentioned earlier about talking to Leonard, and talking to several different players, that I wanted to coach high school after I got through playing pro football when I retired. And so I felt like I had enough ammunition to go out and coach in high school, but organizing, how to run meetings, everything off the field, I didn't really know. And so I called Coach Belichick to do the minority internship in 2000. And what he did, he brought me up in there, and Belichick knows me oh so well that he brought me up in there knowing that I was getting ready to taste blood and I wasn't going to leave, because because minority internship, you just do the summer. And due to summer, and I was supposed to go back home, and I was supposed to. I was at that given time. My son was getting ready to start high school, so I promised him that either I was going to get an apartment in Columbus, Ohio, or I was going to fly back and forth wherever I'm at. And Belichick offered me the job. I come home, and to stay on for the season. I come back, I call my son, and this, that, and other. He was like, Dad, I'm going to be all right. It's going to take a while for me to get into the groove and all this stuff anyway, so you'll be okay. And I said, okay. So I stayed on for a season, and I was like totally pissed. I felt handicapped, like one hand tied behind my back or something, that I was there to help, but I felt like I was stepping on toes because I technically I didn't have a position. Bill gave me the rookies. I worked with the rookies. He gave me a project with Andy Katzenmoyer, which is a former Buckeye, and I did that stuff, but I felt like I had so much more to offer, and I didn't get the opportunity because of Rob was the the linebackers coach, Rob Ryan. I'm sorry, one of Buddy Ryan's sons. So at the end of the season, when we flying home, I think it was like week 15 or something like that. It wasn't even the last game, and Belichick asked me, would I want to stay on? And now I'm double kicking my sons. I called him. He was excited about the whole thing. Going to be a full-time coach. He was like, "Coach, Dad, you can coach me, and help me from long distance. I'm going to be okay." I asked my mother. I got the okay from them too. That's all I cared about. And the rest is history. Because the 01, after we won that first Super Bowl, then. The fellas, Ty Law, those guys, they was telling me, Pep, you need to, you never repeat it. You always talked about not really getting your opportunity to repeat with the Giants, because after 86 comes the strike year. And then after 90, Belichick and Parcells leave. So in my mind, we really didn't get the opportunity to repeat. And the Patriots, we didn't do it then, but we ended up doing it 03 and 04.
What a career. And thank you so much for being with us, Len. We did it again. Your teammates were unbelievable that 86 season.
Yes, they were, and I got to tell you, kudos to him. He was an inspiring young man that came in and made an impact early on, and became a leader in our defense, a leader on our team. And I'm just so honored and happy to be able to call him my friend, my neighbor, a brother, and someone that I have the utmost respect for and will always admire and love. So thank you so much for being with us, Pepper. I sincerely appreciate the time spent and the journey that we had together.
Oh, this it's still going.
Still going, baby.
Still going. Hey, I love you too, bro. Hey, man, it's always, this is a pleasure. This is a pleasure of mine as well.
This is the Lenny and Elliott Podcast, when Giants were Giants, about the 1986 Super Bowl champions. We'll be back next week or soon. Thank you.